If you're PCS into the Pentagon, then you've probably watched our ultimate guide to PCS into the Pentagon, which is a video on our YouTube channel. It's for the 2024 year. Updated information. I highly recommend you watch it. This video is going to be about things you should know before you get to the area from a local's perspective. So I've been living in Northern Virginia for 10 years. So since 2013 with my family of 4. And I feel like after a decade of living here, I'm now a local. Before we begin, I'm Abraham Walker with Ask A Walker, your Northern Virginia real estate agent. On this channel, we do all the research so you don't have to. When you're ready to start your real estate journey, whether that's buying a home, selling a home, or investing in real estate, click the link in the description to fill out your perfect home questionnaire. After you complete the form, we'll schedule a time to meet online via Zoom to answer any and all of your real estate questions. Be sure to subscribe to our channel for future videos about relocating to the Northern Virginia area. Let's dive right in. The first thing you need to know about Northern Virginia is that it's rather large given the overall area, right? So when most people think of Northern Virginia, they think of it as just a suburb to the DC metro area. So there's Washington, DC, and then there is Northern Virginia. That's really not true. Northern Virginia is quite large. I mean, Fairfax County alone, which is one of the 6 areas or counties that make up Northern Virginia, has over 1 million people living in it. That's right. This is supposed to be a suburb, but it's the size of some small cities. To kind of give you some perspective of the size of the overall Northern Virginia area, it's about 1,300 square miles. And the Pentagon is going to be located on the eastern side of Northern Virginia, sort of by the border before you get into Washington, DC. But there's a body of water there, which is the Potomac River, that separates the Northern Virginia side from DC and Maryland. Another thing you should know about Northern Virginia is that there is an acronym that some people use called DMV for this area, right? So that's going to be D for Washington, DC, M for Maryland, and then V for Virginia. But they're not talking about all of Maryland, and they're not talking about all of Virginia. It's talking about the Northern Virginia area. And then from Maryland, there really isn't a name for it, but it's really the parts of Maryland that are around the Washington, DC proper. The second thing you want to know about moving to Northern Virginia is that it is close to a lot of things on the East Coast. So we're really like in the middle of the East Coast. So we're not too far up north like New York, Maine, Vermont. We're not too far south like Florida, Georgia, or the Carolinas. So we're kind of right in the middle. That means that you can access different places rather quickly. Let's say you want to take a road trip either to the north or to the south. We have you covered when you live in Northern Virginia. So to the north, you're 3 hours away from Philadelphia, 4 hours away from New York City, 8 hours away from Boston, and oh, by the way, you're only 2 hours away from Baltimore. Now, when you're going to the south of the Pentagon, you're going to be about 4 hours away from North Carolina, 8 hours away from South Carolina, which South Carolina has Myrtle Beach, which is a nice beach in the area. And then you're only 11 hours away from Tennessee, certain parts of Tennessee. The next thing you need to know before you move to Northern Virginia is about our weather. Now, I'm from New Orleans, and New Orleans weather is either summer or mild summer, right? So we really don't have a winter market or winter season. It's not the case in Northern Virginia. We have all 4 seasons. And in my opinion, since I grew up in an area that didn't have that many seasons, this is great. I think you're going to love it if you don't mind cold and also extremely hot temperatures, right? The cool thing about our temperature, or the cool thing about our weather, is that we have all 4 seasons, but we have them evenly distributed. So you're going to have 3 months of each season, which means that you can wear a wide variety of clothing if you like to dress up. You know, you get to wear your little sweater vest in the fall, or you can wear your bubble jackets in the winter time. You could actually have a proper winter coat that you may wear 3 or 4 times a year. It doesn't get cold enough for a long enough period of time to really be lugging around a winter coat, but you'll still need one though. You'll still need one. Because every so many years, there is going to be a blizzard-like snow event that's going to shut down everything, and you'll be able to make snowmen. You'll also be stuck in your house for a while, but that's not often. That's not often. Also, our spring season is just amazing. Seeing the flowers bloom, the cherry blossoms all over the city or the region that show themselves for maybe like a week or two. is also pretty cool. Summer gets blistering hot sometimes, and it's the worst type of hot because it's also humid, right? So we have the Potomac River right next to us. So sometimes it'll be like that sticky type of hot that makes it a little muggy. I'm used to it because I'm from New Orleans, but a lot of people aren't used to that, and that is one of their biggest complaints. One more note about the weather here before we move to the next section. When it snows here, because this region consists of people from all over the world, these people don't know how to drive in the snow. So that means that schools get closed, businesses get closed, grocery stores sometimes get raided for all of their produce and their dry goods, just when it's like a little small snowstorm. I'm telling you, it's crazy how people overreact in this area when it comes to snow. So just keep that in mind. It's comical in my opinion, but for some people, you know, they get a little perturbed about it. So you will need to have some planning. There'll be some planning around if you have like school-aged kids for what happens in the event that there is a snowstorm, but usually most people don't have to work on those days. Next thing you need to know about is the fact that Northern Virginia is expensive. And what I mean by expensive is that if you compare it to other places in America, outside of Boston, New York City, parts of California, it's up there as far as like the most expensive places to live in America. Because of that, your BAH rates have also been adjusted for this higher cost of living. So in E6 with no dependents, you're looking at receiving $2,739. With dependents, you're looking at $3,360. In 04 with no children, you're looking at $3,534. And with, you're looking at $4,056. You should also know that the VA loan limits are also the highest they are in the country. So we're looking at, for 2024, the VA loan limit is $1,149,825. Now, how does that translate to the average sales price, right? Because you're thinking to yourself, you know, Abraham, how much does it cost to buy a home here? Well, in the US, the average price is going to be $417. For a single family home in Northern Virginia, it is $977,000. And then for a townhome, you're looking at $650,000. So this brings us up to the next point that I want to talk about, which is you're probably going to have a smaller home than you are accustomed to purchasing throughout the rest of America because of our higher sales prices. One of the more common products or property types that people buy when they are PCSing to the Pentagon is going to be a townhome. Now, a townhouse is not an apartment. You know, when I describe a townhouse to some individuals who are relocating here, they say, well, Abraham, I don't want to live in an apartment. Just because you're sharing a wall with someone, this is not going to be an apartment. So a townhouse, you own, you're part of the property, which is you share a wall on either sides. If you have an end unit, you won't have a shared wall, but you share a wall. And then you'll usually have 3 levels to that townhouse. So your lower level is going to be considered your basement, but in Virginia, some of these places aren't completely submerged. So your basement may have a window with sunlight and you can walk straight into that basement level. So on that basement level, you'll probably have a bathroom, maybe a full bathroom, maybe a half bathroom or a powder room. You'll probably also find your washer and dryer on this level. Depending on the elevation, you may have your garage on this basement level. And then one level up is going to be your main level, right? This is your main living level. On this main living level, you have 3 or 4 compartments, right? So you have your kitchen, you're going to have your dining room, then you're going to have your living room, and then most properties, depending on the size, will have a powder room or half bath. Depending on the development you're in, you'll most likely have some type of balcony area where we see a lot of people grilling on that same level. Depending on the age of the unit, there may be some separation between the kitchen and the dining room / living room area. If it's a newer property, then it'll be wide open. If it's a property that was built in, say, the early 2000s or before 2000, then usually the kitchen, there'll be some type of wall that separates the kitchen from the living room, dining room area. And depending on where the kitchen is located, maybe it could be in the front of the house or the back of the property, will determine where the deck or balcony is. On your bedroom level, the final level in most townhouses, so it's a 3-level property, you usually see 3 bedrooms, right? So you'll have 2 guest bedrooms and then a full bathroom that those bedrooms share. And then on that same level, you'll have like a linen closet. Our last room is going to be the owner's suite. The owner's suite usually has a walk-in closet, and then you'll have a bathroom that will sometimes have a double vanity, a shower, or a tub if it's a newer property, or if it's a larger townhouse. So you may have a tub and a shower, and then that'll be it. Now, depending on your price point, we also have 4-level townhomes. Now, the 4th level, also called the loft, it's wide open what you can see in these spaces. Sometimes there's a bathroom up there, sometimes there isn't. Sometimes there's a bedroom up there, sometimes there isn't. The one common thing we see on these 4th levels is some type of rooftop terrace, so another balcony on that level. And that's what a townhouse is. That's what a townhouse is. Very common product for people who are PCSing to the Pentagon to purchase, especially if they have a lot of stuff, right? Or if they're living with multiple people inside their home, or if they have an animal that they really love and that animal needs a lot of space. If you are going to purchase or try to purchase a single family home, then you're going to have probably like realistically, probably like a 45-minute commute to work, okay? Because you're going to have to get further away from the Pentagon to access more affordable properties. Next thing you need to know is just a little lingo. Now, I don't hear too many people using this language, but it's important to know. There's something called inside the Beltway and then outside the Beltway. So inside the Beltway is seen as the more prime real estate because it's closer to a lot of the creature comforts and large employment bases. Buying a home inside the Beltway, unless you're looking in Annandale, is going to be quite expensive. So most people we help are buying outside of the Beltway so they can get a larger property and they have a little bit less of a city feel that most people are used to. Living inside the Beltway does provide you with the shortest commute. So you're looking at anywhere from 5 minutes to 20 minutes to work by living inside the Beltway, and you are also paying a premium for that short commute. Now, we showed you a map earlier that shows all of the different areas that make up Northern Virginia. I just want to give you some average home sales prices for a couple of the areas that are closer in, so you kind of get an idea of just how expensive it is to live here. So when you're looking at Arlington County, which is where the Pentagon is really located, in the Arlington, Crystal City, South Arlington area, Arlington County's average sales price is $776,000. Alexandria City, which is going to be to the south of the Pentagon, the average sales price is $613,000. And Fairfax County, which is going to be to the west of both Arlington and Alexandria, is $718,000. Now, as you move away from the Beltway and outside of the Beltway, those areas are more affordable. So Prince William County, you're looking at an average sales price of $526,000, and Stafford is going to be $503,000 for their average sales price. I mentioned these two areas, Stafford and Prince William County, first because they're going to be some of the most affordable living options you're going to have, and we find that a lot of people choose to call that area home that use VA financing. So when we're tracking the data, where are people who are using VA loans moving? Prince William County and Stafford. So you're going to find a lot more people who are probably service members or retired service members living in those areas. The next thing I want to talk to you all about is public transportation. Northern Virginia, to most people living in other areas of the country, looks like a city to some degree. But cities like Chicago and New York City, they have great public transportation that can really replace your car. That's not the case in Northern Virginia. Our public transportation is really designed to get you to work and back home. That's it. It's designed to get you from your house to some type of hub where you get on public transportation and you go to work, you come back to this hub, and then you drive home. That's how our public transportation works. So don't think to yourself that, oh, you know what? I'm going to be able to replace my car. You're not going to be able to. Unless you live in areas like Alexandria City, close to the Old Town area, or Crystal City, or parts of Arlington and like the Roslyn, Ballston, Clarendon, Courthouse area. Those areas you could definitely live in without a car. Everywhere else, which is almost everything else that's on the market, you're not going to be able to, or it'll be really challenging. Since Northern Virginia is built in like this hub and spoke model where you have these bedroom communities and then people go to work and then they come back to their bedroom community, there's a lot of infrastructure outside of most neighborhoods that will provide you quick access to a grocery store, dry cleaners, restaurants. There's home improvement stores almost around everywhere. Or close to everywhere. And then we have Costco's sprinkled throughout the region. We have a few Wegmans as well. So that's the cool thing about Northern Virginia, that most of your errands are going to be able to be completed right outside of your community. But you should expect a car dependent lifestyle, okay? Last thing I want to talk about is that buying trips do not make sense in this market. So you're PCS into the Pentagon, and in your mind, you're thinking, you know what, maybe I'll take a week off closer to the time I'm going to move, and then I'll look at a bunch of houses, put an offer on something, and then I'll be good to go. Unfortunately, that is not a good strategy because homes in Northern Virginia stay on the market less than 20 days. Homes here sell quickly, and they have been selling quickly for at least like the last 7 years or so. What most clients do is they shop from their couch. So what we offer is we offer a service to provide you with virtual tours of properties where I physically go in, record a property, and I send it to you. These tours are very detailed. They usually take anywhere from 20 to 25 minutes for a townhouse to 25 to 40 minutes for a single family home. My purpose or goal with these videos is twofold. First, I want to be your eyes and ears and nose inside of these properties. So I am very judgmental. I am looking for any problems. So the way my tours work is I usually walk around the exterior of the property first, trying to look for any water intrusion, maybe problems with the roof, any cracks in the foundation. I look around the neighborhood because a part of living somewhere is being around your neighbors. And maybe some neighborhoods have neighbors you don't think that you would mesh with. That's one of the things I want to find out for you. Then we go inside of the property. Inside of the property, we use a wide angle lens camera, and we are trying to see if there are any problems we could find. Because if you sent me the property and you said, Abraham, I'm really interested in this property, then you already like it. So my goal is to, the best of my ability, show you everything that you would dislike about the property. In addition to walking around the entire property, walking every room, looking in every closet, looking at almost everything you could possibly imagine, I also take a measuring device with me, a laser measurer with me, and I measure the rooms for you and provide you some room measurements so you can kind of get an idea of how big the space is. A lot of my clients who receive the measurements, they will take whatever space they're in currently, measure that space out, so then they could kind of get an idea of how big the space is. Again, our goal with these virtual tours is to make it easy for you to say no to a property. If you can say no with these property tours, then it's going to be easier for you to say yes when the time comes. So that's it. These are all the things I think you should know before you PCS to the Pentagon. We have a healthy YouTube channel and also TikTok account. So we have a lot of people who are already stationed here or already live here. If you're watching and you already live here and I missed the point, please let us know down below in the comment section. Your contribution would be greatly needed. I will see you on the next video. Peace.